All right, boys, what do you got for me?
Here he goes again on his own, driving down the fucking highway on his phone. Been drifting into lanes and parking zones. Frasco's made up his mind. He's gambling with our lives. Here he goes again on his own, driving down the fucking highway on his phone. It's the longest tour I've ever fucking known. Frasco's made up his mind. Gonna answer every email while he drives. So here he goes again. Here he goes again. Here he goes. Get off your fucking phone.
Noted. Let's start the show.
Woo!
Matisyahu.
And we're back. Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast. I'm Andy Frasco. How's our heads? How's our minds?
Are you above criticism because you made something?
Right away, Nick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right
we were
away.
just talking about it.
I know.
It's fun to get right into it.
Oh, man. How we doing?
I'm pretty good.
I'm about to leave on tour.
I know.
You gonna miss me?
Yeah, when are you going to be back?
First time back, I'll be back in like 3 weeks.
Oh. We'll can some openings so you have them.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll just fly you in for some
That seems
stuff.
like a huge waste of money, but okay. If it's your money, fuck it.
I don't fuck
I'll fly out and do some shit.
I waste money all the time. Might as well
You
spend
do.
another $300-$400 on
You waste money on way dumber stuff than having me come talk to you.
You yelled at me because I bought a Balenciaga
What
wallet.
the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. When I'm sad, I buy
Dude,
things.
I don't like
You don't
your...
do that?
No.
When you're like, I was
too
in
poor
Europe.
growing up.
Oh.
I have like a weird thing with money. Have you ever seen me like waste money on anything?
My mom taught me when you're sad, buy
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, ask your dad about that.
I bought this. Yeah. My dad's pissed.
Whatever, it's your money. You're single. It's not hurting anybody. But it's fun to make fun of you for buying a Balenciaga wallet. Like, what a corny thing. I bought an expensive thing to hold my money in.
I don't
Such a
even have any
weird...
money.
I know. You got a $400 wallet. I don't know how much. Probably wasn't that much, but Balenciaga shit's
was
expensive.
$200.
That must have been a discount or something.
It was.
Because
I bought it at duty free.
also, because their shoes are like $1,500 and they're the ugliest shit I've ever seen in my life.
They're like space shoes.
Yeah, they look so dumb. What do you guys? It's like, are you just trying to? It's like, I swear to God, some of these companies are like, let's see what we can get these dumb motherfuckers to spend money on next, and they're just like, ha ha, look at that. Kanye.
Jordan does that too. Nike Jordan.
To be fair, the wallet doesn't look ridiculous. It just says Balenciaga on it, and I'm not a fan of that
it's
either.
simple.
I don't like stuff where you buy something and then the company's brand name is on it.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck am I paying you to advertise your shit? It's a good grift by them, though. I gotta like, remember Abercrombie and Fitch? Like, every shirt they have is just like
Abercrombie.
It's like, okay, so you pay someone $60 for a button down, and then they're advertising your company too. It's a pretty good business model.
Yeah. I don't
Anyway,
know.
what a stupid thing you bought.
I know.
You
It's
guys should
okay.
see his shoe collection. For a guy that doesn't wear shoes, you sure have thousands of dollars in shoes in your closet over there.
Hey, I don't want to get
I'm
my
not hating
shit
on
stolen.
that. I'm not hating on that because that could actually have. You could sell those,
I don't want to sell them. I just
but
like
you could.
them. Yeah.
Like they're not gonna like lose money or whatever.
Oh.
But whatever, you bought a wallet. Who gives a shit? I mean, it's
We
not
could
that-
judge everything else in our lives, but we can't judge music.
musicians.
Music.
I know we were talking about that before. That's why I made that joke. So like, there's this thing right now where everybody hates the music industry or whatever. But what about the musicians? They're really getting a pass.
The musicians are getting a pass.
Yeah, music, like like just because the music industry is bad doesn't make every musician good. We're not all good people, right?
No, we can't. I just had a conversation about
musician.
this. I can't go through this. We
Yes,
need to
you
stay
can.
optimistic.
I'm optimistic. There's plenty of great musicians out there making great music. There's also tons of bad musicians making bad music who are above. My thing is just like, why are people not allowed to criticize musicians anymore unless they're just a fan. Why am I not allowed to be like, yo, that sucks. That's not good. They're out of tune. They're not on, their time is bad. If you're like another musician.
Because it makes you feel like you're a hater.
But I'm not a hater. I'm just an objective observer of things. I'm not saying they should not be successful. Like if 3,000 people want to spend money and go see it, that's fine too. I don't care.
Right.
But that doesn't make it objectively good. And it's not even that. It's that like a lot of people think that like you're not allowed to criticize music at all or whatever art because it's like art or I don't know. I think it's just because the boomers raised us bad.
Boomers raised us
bad? It's like it comes out of the participation trophy sort of thing,
What do you mean?
Well, you know how boomers are always bitching about millennials or Gen Z or whatever having their participation trophy thing? Which is also a bullshit argument because they raised us to be that way. So like, why are you mad at the way we are? You raised us.
Yeah.
That's like if you hit your dog every day and then you get mad at him when he bites someone. Well, you hit the dog every day. So I just think like the same thing is existing in music right now. It's really bad in the jam band scene where like if you make fun of a band, you're like a bad person. But why can't we just make fun of shit and have fun and just like call stuff dumb if it's dumb? I don't get it.
Because people are too sensitive. That's why they're artists.
That's what I'm saying. But if you're an artist and you stand by your shit, you shouldn't be sensitive about it. You should just take any criticism with a grain of salt.
Right.
If you believe in your shit, who cares? But also, people are still allowed to criticize it.
Yeah.
That's I don't know.
Yeah, I got reprimanded about being so pessimistic.
I know. Hold on, my headphone thing came out.
I'm like, I'm not pessimistic. I'm just being honest, and like, it makes me not want to be honest. Like, isn't that the point of life? Is to be honest with how you feel?
Dude, I mean, I would say that
isn't that part of journalism? Is to be honest about how you feel?
Yeah, like technically, this is a journalism.
Yeah,
I know that
technically we're journalists right now doing this podcast
or something like that, media, whatever. Yeah. But like, so we're supposed to just lie and say everything's good. Who the hell's going to want to listen to a podcast where you're like, he's good, I like him. I also like him. He is also good. And that is also good. Wow, great content, guys. You like everything. Cool. Everything's equally good. Well, that can't be that way, can it?
No, but why? But this is the problem with what social media did to our brains. Is like we are forced just to make everything be good.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
And everything,
and no wonder why there's more mental health issues than ever before, because everyone is relying on this fake happiness they see on fucking social media.
Yeah, and comparing themselves to
the
best version of someone's fake life. That like no one's real on Instagram. Maybe you a little bit, but like,
yeah, most
people are just lying. You know what I mean? We're all a bunch of fucking liars. So stop judging yourself against someone else's lies. Also, right.
We're on fire today.
I think that like social media is going to be like in 20 years, like it's going to be looked at like smoking cigarettes or something.
Really?
I really think it's not. You can already, I feel like, I don't know. I'm not around kids that much, but, well, I guess that's a good thing, but I'm not around kids that much. So I don't really know, but it seems like they're not being as corny online as like the 35-year-olds.
They're not. I mean,
no, we don't need to we've been over this. We don't need to romanticize every single thing in our life.
Yeah.
That actually makes things worse, I think.
Yeah. And when I get shitted on because I'm like honest about my my alcoholism.
Yeah.
Like, oh, then just stop fucking drinking. It's not about I'm having a hard day because of the alcoholism. I'm having a hard day because life is hard.
Life is fucking hard.
Express that life is fucking hard.
Yes, and you know what? That goes in the music industry thing too. The music industry is fucking hard, and if you're not making it, that's fine. But don't lie and say you are, and don't lie. I mean, just because you're working hard, I'm not talking about you, but like, there's a lot of people who think just because they work hard, they deserve something. That's cool if you work at like GMC or some corporation where there's a corporate ladder and there's like a defined set of things you need to do to climb it. But guess what? This industry doesn't work like that.
No.
There's like the best saxophone player in the world is probably some guy in his garage that's like no one's heard of. You know what I mean? That just sheds 14 hours a day and has no personality or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not guaranteed anything just because you tried. You know what I mean? And I know your parents told you that or whatever, but it's not true.
Yeah. I gotta get that out of my head.
It's like, you should be thankful that you're even doing this for a living. Yeah. I mean, throughout history, I know it's like now it's like everybody has a cool job for some reason all of a sudden after the pandemic and they're all working from home on their computer. But like, throughout history, you were lucky if you even had income or like if you weren't dead at 35. You know what I'm saying? Like, So whenever I get down about whatever in the music industry, I just think, oh yeah, my ancestors had to fight in a civil war, or like fucking, you know what I'm saying? I have friends that have died in Iraq because they got sent there, you know, or whatever.
Talked about Matisyahu about this. Like his family was in the Holocaust.
Exactly. It's a reflection of how good of a world we live in compared to our ancestors. Like, I don't think like the pioneers had depression. They were too busy trying to
survive.
Yeah. Do you think the Donner Party got depression? I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You have tons of things that nobody in history had at your age. So maybe it's cool that you're depressed because it means your life is so good that you have the ability to become depressed about it.
Yeah, we forget. We taking. I think back to the social media thing. I think we taken for granted. Sad, like we not taken for granted. We didn't realize that sadness is part of life too.
Yeah, it's fun to feel sad sometimes.
I don't know if it's fun.
It feels good. I mean, like, it's good to have a range of emotions.
You sick fuck.
No, you can, like, I don't know. It's important.
I don't know, but it's fun to feel sad.
Well, it's your body. A little bit. I am fucking weird about it.
It's like, hello, sadness, welcome.
Yeah, I don't know.
Doors open, sadness.
Yeah, but emotions are like kind of your way of like your mind and your body or your mind communicating with you to like tell you need to do some different shit, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what doesn't make me sad?
Dialed in fucking gummies.
Dialed in gummies. Shout out to Dialed in gummies.
Oh, man.
Still with us. I haven't talked to Keith in a while.
I saw him yesterday. He had COVID for a little bit. So
is he okay? He's still liking what we're doing?
He's all better. Yeah, he's liking it.
Cool.
But he was been laying low. He had the vid.
Oh no.
He's all better. He didn't get it that bad. It's not a real disease and it's all fake, you know. I'm just kidding.
Jesus, you're on fire.
No, that's a joke. Everything else I said was I stand by. That was a joke.
Okay.
COVID does exist.
Yeah.
Dialed in gummies.
Dialed in gummies. I've been ever before we talk about Dialed in gummies. Ever since we interviewed that Ethan guy, I've been smoking e-vape.
Oh yeah, because he told you that vaping's better for you than cigarettes.
I haven't smoked as many cigarettes.
I believe him because he knows everything about drugs.
Yeah. So shout out to Ethan for getting me on the e-vape.
He didn't lie to us. He's a lawyer.
Dialed in gummies. Want to do the pitch?
Sure. Dialed in gummies. I re-upped like I said, I saw Keith.
He gave you some? I need some.
Oh, I can grab you some maybe. I thought you had a bunch. Anyway,
No.
So they're great for you. First of all, they fix all your problems immediately the second you take them. $500 will be put in your bank account by an unknown source. No, I'm just kidding. They're homogenous, which means the THC is equal across the whole thing. They're solventless, which means there's not a bunch of bullshit in them. They taste better than any other gummy. They get you high as hell. I like to eat 3 to 4 10 milligrams every night. And watch a movie and go to bed or write a trivia show. That's what I did last night. I got super high and wrote my whole trivia show.
Yeah, I heard that's killing.
It's doing well, actually. People are good. They're smarter than I thought. I don't know. Go buy them. They're in every dispensary now, pretty much.
So go out there. If you're in the Colorado area, go buy some Dialed in gummies. They're the best. We're not just blowing
And they're
smoke
like a
up your
local
ass.
company. It's not some big corporation
Mom,
shoving.
Pa.
Pa, and Keith Portman.
And Keith Portman. Shout out to Keith.
He's a legend, man.
I love Keith. Yeah. So grab yourself some Dialed in gummies. Okay, are we being too pessimistic?
I don't think we're being pessimistic at all.
No?
That's the thing. That's the problem. It's like people think this is. Well, that's just like a sensitivity thing.
I mean, I'm not trying to.
I'm not like mad at the world here. I'm just
I'm not
saying,
mad
like,
at the
chill
world
out
either.
a little bit, everybody. You're not so important. Your songs are just songs. It
Come
wouldn't
on.
affect anything.
Music's important.
No, that's what I'm saying. It is important, but like, just relax about it a little bit. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's
But
not
maybe
life or
it's
death.
like maybe it's just life and death to that 10% of people that, we're in such a niche.
Yeah, exactly.
I also like, you could say the same thing about fucking college sports fans.
100%. 100%.
Or
This is not a
basketball
music
teams.
thing. This is like a life thing. We're just talking about music.
People get like really sad. Like I've watched like the Barstool people like bet.
Oh my God, that shit is insane.
And
Who's that
people
big
watch
guy that
him.
loves the Mets?
Oh, I forgot. But
Frank the Tank, maybe?
Yeah, he's like he just gets so aggressive and sad when the Mets lose.
Yeah, maybe he needs other stuff going on in his life too or something. Does the Lakers?
Well, he gets paid to do that.
Yeah, I
Gets
know.
sad.
I'm just kidding. Do the Lakers do that to you still?
Not anymore. That's what's kind of sad. Like I don't really care.
You're getting to
as
be in your
much.
30s and it's like not a thing. The veil has been lifted on these people.
Yeah,
they're
and it's just
people.
like they're just people. And like I was like, I even like turned off the game
Well, I would have too if I was a Lakers fan.
I mean, they playing like shit, but it wasn't even that. I'm just like, I used to
They're
be
not fun to
so
watch either.
attached.
Yeah.
So attached.
I watched the whole game. I watched both games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, their bench is god awful, and they have no shooting as usual. What
Yeah.
do they like? What, I don't understand what Rob Pelinka's doing.
And they just gave him an extension.
I don't know.
I don't want to talk about it.
They should just trade AD or something. I don't know.
Just blow up the team and just get some picks and try to get the French kid.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it. Anyway, we have Matisyahu on the show.
Hell yeah.
This was a great conversation.
See, he'll be a lot more optimistic.
His life was very hard.
Yeah,
and he still figured out a way to make it all work.
He grew up sort of like in the Orthodox Jewish community, right? Or something. Yeah.
He lived in New York. He was kind of like a troublemaker, and he had to go to rehab, and then he had to go to Oregon. Yeah,
that'll straighten you out going to Oregon. I never want to go here again.
He was in Bend in the 90s when Bend wasn't hip yet.
Yeah, it was probably just like
in the middle of nowhere.
Lumberjack guys. Huh?
Yeah, and he was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, weird.
But he got better, so shout out to him.
Now it's like Fort Collins or something.
All right, let's end this show with a little bit of optimism.
I'm optimistic, actually. Just saying, you guys need to just relax about your shit, man. Just like
we're talking about us. Too.
Be nice to yourself.
Yeah, be nice to yourself. You don't need to judge yourself over everyone else.
Yeah,
it's life. We need.
If you
to
don't
start
like a
focusing.
band, you're allowed to criticize them.
Yeah.
If you do like a band, don't get so emotional when people criticize them.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Or your sports teams.
Or your sports teams or whoever.
Or your
actors.
girlfriend or boyfriend.
You can, yeah. Well, that's a little different, but yeah.
How dare you? All right.
I don't know.
Well, have a great day.
You should have a great day.
My fucking trailer got stolen.
Is it empty?
Yeah. No, there was some shit in it.
But they just like...
They just took it out of my fucking driveway.
Pretty easy to steal a trailer, isn't it? Because it wasn't on anything, was it?
No, and it was like light because there was only a couple keyboards and shit in it.
What a stupid...
We had the locks on there.
Oh, wow. Well, people know what they're doing.
I didn't... just one thing.
What a stupid trailer to steal. It has like your...
Yeah, it says follow your dreams and Andy Frasco on it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so if you're in the Denver area and you see my trailer...
It's tan with red writing, right?
It's tan with red writing that says never give up.
Yeah. If you see somebody driving around a stolen trailer that says never give up, that's Andy's.
That's mine. So please
don't report it because he's already got the insurance claim going. Let's not get more paperwork.
Yeah, I don't want any more paper. Just flip that guy off. Tell him he's a fucking asshole for stealing my trailer. Okay. Okay, we're done. We got to get out of here. Bo's got to go buy us a new trailer for $8,000.
God damn it.
$8,000. I can't believe a trailer costs $8,000.
I can. Actually, no. They should be like 5,000. I feel
it's like a Camry.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's like a used Camry.
The fuck? And it was a 2011.
It's a used trailer?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it's a double axle. And it's like we got to get a big boy trailer now.
Double axle so that handles better or whatever?
Just so we could carry the weight.
Yeah,
and we're like bringing more merch. We're selling a shit ton of merch.
And Floyd rides back there.
And Floyd rides in the back of the trailer. Okay, let me just promote some shows before I go. Okay, guys. Tour started. You've already had the first weekend, but we're playing Springfield, Missouri on Wednesday. We need the tickets.
Beautiful town.
Sell some tickets, baby. Charlottesville, popping. That show's popping. I'm stoked on that. On the 28th.
Get
Asheville,
your tiki
North
torches.
Carolina. Tiki torches. Don't bring your tiki torches. Asheville, North Carolina on the 29th.
Ooh.
Also a big turnout with the cult leader, William Strings, in town. I'm playing after.
Oh, yeah. We had a really good show there last year on tour.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed of how many tickets we've sold.
Are you playing Salvage Station again?
With William playing that weekend. Salvage Station.
Yeah, place is cool.
And then Columbus, Ohio on the 30th for Halloween.
Love that town.
Then the next weekend, we're in Washington, D.C. on the 2nd. Boston, Massachusetts. Don't be trying to fucking haggle me on the fucking Celtics thing, okay? We know you're a better team. Just move on.
Not even close. But
Not even close. But don't throw some... fucking fine. Throw your Celtics jerseys on like you always do, but... Don't. I'm very vulnerable right now. The Lakers suck. Don't smear it in my face.
Hey, the Celtics could fall apart at any moment.
They will.
They have like a 34-year-old coach.
Yeah, they will. They will. But I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah. Then it's the 4th, we're in Philadelphia, and the 5th, we're in Brooklyn. And then I have 4 days off in New York. I can't wait.
What are you going to do? What are you doing?
We rented an Airbnb, and I'm just going to eat food.
We got food there, yeah.
Anyway, let's try the ending again. We're gonna have a great week.
We're going to have a great week.
It's gonna be good.
Even the part
Everything's
where you
fine.
say, let's try the ending again.
Just
ready.
stay happy.
I'm ready to watch
Stay
your tour
inspired. You're gonna
for my phone.
Oh,
Be like, I remember that last year. That was so fun.
I'm bummed you're not coming.
No, it's cool. Little Stranger seems cool, though.
They're cool as fuck. Yeah, I love them. All right, guys. I love you.
You do need me for therapy, though.
I do. I needed that. Thank you.
If you ever need a guy to not talk to you for 6 days, I'm your man.
I know. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Are you going to motivate them?
I mean, I need motivation.
No.
Why don't you give me motivation?
You're on tour. You don't need motivation. You have to do it. You're already in it. You're in a van. You're going to the place. You're being driven. You're driving probably. You're on your phone. Just keep going, buddy.
All right. Thanks, bud. Love you. Bye.
You're aging fine.
All right, next up on the interview hour, we have rapper, songwriter, Matisyahu. Oh, man, I love this interview. Hey, Chris, play some Matisyahu while I pimp him out a little bit. He's got a great story. This is very inspiring. He's dealt with a lot in his life, and now that he's still traveling, he's got his kids with him and his family touring with him. It's just, you're going to love this interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, next up on the interview hour, please welcome Matisyahu.
Wow. Modest.
What's up, Andy?
How you doing?
I'm good, man.
This has been a long time coming.
Awesome, yeah.
Just two Jews having conversation. Let's fucking go, dude. Let's go. Let's go.
Doing what we do best.
I know. I tell you
Talking.
what. I know. That's Yo, so I'm so curious about you. First, I want to go over some like kind of topics. You know, as a Jewish man, as representing, you know, the tribe pretty hardcore in your earlier years and still probably. What do you think about the anti-Semitism in America right now?
I guess that's a pretty scary thing, you know, because for the Jews, we you know, what year were you born? I'm born 79.
79, 88.
Okay.
So
88.
I'm a baby, yeah.
So, but basically, you know, whatever, you know, our entire generation since the Holocaust has not really experienced like real anti-Semitism. We,
Right.
you know, we've had our brushes with it. I'm sure Jews who've grown up in places where there aren't a lot of other Jews or whatever have felt little things here and there. I certainly felt it when I started wearing a yarmulke and I started representing in that way a little bit here and there, but not anything compared to what the generations of Jews that came before us went through. And so I think that we've been kind of like, we know all these stories, we've heard of all these things that happen, but everyone that's in our generation is like, what are you talking about? The Jews have it the easiest. They have it the best. And even for us, I think we haven't really fully understood that. And I think that, unfortunately, it's like the way it works is like a time thing. It's like every certain amount of years, basically, the Jews get kicked in the ass pretty hard.
Right.
So, you know, if that was all it was, I think we got off kind of easy.
Yeah.
But like if it's something that's gonna pick up, you know what I mean? Then it's kind of like brace yourself because this is probably coming.
Yeah.
And it's something that while we don't know, we might not have dealt with it in our lives. It's in our DNA to know how to deal with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's more like brace for impact.
Yeah.
And get together. And that's kind of, unfortunately, probably the only thing that has kept Jews from fighting is when everyone else comes at us.
Right.
And then we're forced to have to kind of unite.
Yeah.
So there's always something good that can come out of it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's like, what kind of racist stuff are you going when you're rocking the yarmulke and the yarmulkes and like, you know, did you ever have anything too bad, or was it your fans that came out to shows?
It wasn't too bad, but sometimes like on the subway or whatever, I would just get a look of hatred that it was a new look to me that I hadn't felt before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a look of, you know, there's always people that were irritated by me for some reason with dreadlocks or whatever it was, you know, or being loud or being in sandals in February or whatever it was. I got looks. But then when I started wearing the yarmulke, from time to time, I would get a certain type of look that was like fire eyes.
Really?
That was like, okay, that's a Nazi or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and especially, where'd you grow up? White Plains?
I grew up, in Westchester County, so a lot of Jews around. But but this was more when I put the yarmulke on. I was like in the city. I was living in Manhattan. I was in school in the new school.
Yeah. Oh, you went to new school. Yeah. So when you're, you know, in the beginning years of your career, like what inspired you to be a musician? Who was it? Your mom, dad? Who was it?
My parents listen to great music. My parents are Deadheads, actually.
That's what I heard
And,
about you.
yeah.
You're like Fish, and you love Fish. And
Yeah,
Dead
I
and-
grew up listening to like classic rock in the house, but then a lot of just like Tracy Chapman, Ricky Lee Jones, a lot of good singer-songwriters, Paul Simon, and all that stuff. So I remember growing up with music being like a real happy thing, like something that it was playing Sunday mornings when you came downstairs or whatever. So, but no, they're not musicians. So I just got into it. I didn't know what instrument. I wasn't really like disciplined to learn an instrument.
Yeah, same.
But I love to sing, and I started writing poetry. And I grew up in the 90s in New York, basically. So hip hop was a big influence, and everyone, in my circle of friends was freestyling, and no one really knew how to beatbox. And I got really good at beatboxing really quickly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's my bag. Like, I'm really good at that. And I started to understand rhythm and harmony and melody and timing and pocket, all of those things just from
Who taught you?
Just picked it up.
Just picked it up.
Yeah. And just how you could drop out when someone's rapping and come back, or if you add a bass line to it, how that affects the rapper. And so I started out as sort of like a drummer per se, or like not a front man in music.
And who were you backing up?
Mainly my friend Dan Eisenberg, this dude Stanley Ipkiss. He's on all my records.
Tell me about him. How'd you guys hook up?
He's just a nice freestyler from White Plains, a year older than me. A really cool kid, and I just in the ciphers and stuff, I would just beatbox for him mainly. That was the very, very first.
How old were you?
16.
16. So you were going to gigs in the city at 16?
Yes, I saw. I went with Dan actually to a place that was called Tramps, and we saw the Roots back in Common. And I saw Rozelle beatbox with this dude, Kenny Muhammad, do like a duo beatbox there. There's, I don't know, 400, 500 people in the room. That changed my life forever.
What do you see in that made your life change?
It was just hype. It was like, that was the hip hop, that was like, and then seeing it being done live by live musicians, that was also very cool for me, having come from the Fish and from the whole thing in the live world, seeing it being done live.
Were you like a, acid head in high school? Like, did you take a lot of acid, watch Fish? Like, what was your vibe? Yeah. You're like a hippie or what?
Yeah, I was kind of a hippie. I was kind of a strange bird a little bit because I was a preppy kid growing up. And then I played ice hockey and I was friends with a lot of people. And then I started smoking weed and I became like heavy stoner. Like I started growing dreadlocks and, listening to Bob Marley only. And, that became kind of like my religion or whatever.
Right.
And, that became my thing. So that's how I kind of got into reggae music. And then Fish. So, yeah, I heard some Fish. I went to see Fish. I had gone to Israel when I was 16 and came back and met my best friend in Boston. And we went to Worcester, Mass. And we saw Fish. It was New Year's run maybe, or I think it was New Year's 90, must have been like 95, maybe 94, something like that. I took acid for
that
the
was
first time.
when Trey was all on heroin and shit.
Was he on heroin then? I don't think he was on heroin yet. I think that came a little bit later, although he might have been. But yeah, I took acid for the first time. I was 16, and that was just a game changer.
What happened? What do you remember?
It just blew my mind. I just remember just the feeling, the feelings of the whole entire world being like inside out, seeing like everything from within. And then I remember seeing kids my age that were just doing that. They were just like running around the country and they weren't in school and there were no parents. And I was like, what the fuck? That's what I'm doing. So that's what I did. I dropped out. Yeah.
You dropped out of high school?
Yeah.
Okay, so what were your parents like when were you a rebel?
Yeah, I didn't get along with my parents at the time. We were fighting a lot. And
what were you guys fighting about? Like what type of conflicts?
I guess it was mainly about, they wanted me to kind of like be a certain way and, be a little more clean cut and not do drugs.
Yeah. So when did you start doing drugs? 16 seems young. Were you doing like drinking at like 12 or like 13?
Nah, I think I smoked weed like 14. I started smoking weed and cigarettes, and I never really was a drinker. And then I took mushrooms, and acid for the first times when I was like maybe 15, 16.
Holy shit.
And then when I was 17, I was on tour taking LSD like every day, going to fish shows and like barefoot in the lot, like
What
full
the
on,
fuck?
like, huffing down nitrous tanks and shit.
Well, okay, so
passing out in fish lot and like selling grilled cheese sandwiches.
let's fucking go. I did not know this, man. Okay, so were you not you didn't like school?
No, I didn't love school at all. No.
What? So did you feel like you didn't have any friends? What was your vibe in school?
Well, I just didn't love learning at that time. I didn't love, and I eventually I like ended up going to yeshiva and studying like 14 hours a day for years, and learning became like a huge part of my whole everything. Studying. But when I was a teenager, it just seemed completely irrelevant to me, and I was always the type of person, I guess I was emotional, you know what I mean? So it was hard for me to just kind of like detach from my emotion and sit in class. And I always just felt like there was something going on like inside, some kind of inner kind of turmoil. I was out of place. I didn't know exactly what it was that I wanted to do or where I should be. I had some friends, but my love was ice hockey, and I got tossed from the team for having the reputation of being a pothead.
Oh,
and
that
when
fucked you up?
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, all right. And I was starting to really listen to music a lot then.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this. And I just like had a drum set up in the attic, and I had like a PA with like delays on it and with a microphone, and I would just chant and drum like, in the attic and get high and listen to music and listen to all the artists that like really like basically influenced my whole like way of singing, like was like Sizzla and Buju Banton. So years of like listening listening before I even was really doing anything.
And I could hear that you could definitely feel like it's like proving someone wrong if it's your hockey coach. Like they proved like you were probably a good hockey player, right?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
So they didn't fire you because of your skills.
Right.
They fired you because they assumed you were a pothead.
Yeah.
That must have fucked you up a little bit.
It did, yeah. As a 14-year-old, especially when that's your love, like that was my passion.
Were you
know what I mean?
confused?
I was kind of, I probably was pretty confused. I think I just became more rebellious, kind of like more like, oh yeah, like fuck you, like I don't need, I don't know.
Are you competitive?
Pretty competitive, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Levy, would you say I'm competitive? I mean, yeah, I'm mellow, but I definitely have like a drive in me to be the best at whatever it is that
where does the drive come from? From angst or from just proving yourself that you are better than you think you are?
I think it's just that I whatever it is that I invest myself into, I dedicate myself to.
Right.
I want to excel at it because it's something that I've chosen that's important to me, that I feel is important to either me or other people, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people take life for granted. Like when you realize that maybe we only have one shot at this, we want to be the best at whatever we're being the best at.
Yeah.
And if it takes this fucking asshole hockey coach to put you on your path, at first you feel confused, but like maybe that guy saved your life because you're a musician.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. Life is wild like that, right?
It is, yeah. It is.
I slowly understand. I'm like, so I'm confused on was it Israel when you were 16 that made you want to start studying things? Or when did you start wanting to research religion or research just learning about things? Was it the hip hop that taught you how to learn things?
Not really. So when I went to Israel, I did have a positive learning experience while I was there because I was in a like more of a type of school where you kind of like you go experiential learning or whatever, where you go see the sites and then you learn about it, and the teachers are excited about what they're teaching. You're learning about your history. As a Jew, that was something that was cool for me because I didn't know that much about it.
Well, what'd you first learn that you thought like this is very interesting about the Jewish?
Like learning about like the zealots and stuff like that, like on Masada, like
I don't know what that is.
Or like basically like Mount Masada, Mount Masada. So like the people that basically like when the ruling was that the Romans? I don't remember exactly who it was, but they came down. There was a whole rebellion basically, and this group of people called the Zealots, which is where the term zealot comes from. Yeah. They basically ran up the mountain to escape. up to the top of this mountain. And they fought them off by just like throwing shit down the mountain for like years and years and years. And they built a city up there and figured out how to get water up there and everything. And they had a whole, and then eventually when the enemy outsmarted them by putting like the remaining Jews in the front lines and walking them up first or whatever. Oh, wow. So they just did like a mass suicide on top of the mountain.
That's wild. Like instead of surrendering, we're all going out together.
Yeah, exactly.
You thought that was beautiful?
I just thought it was wild. You know what I mean? And that was part of what, like, those kind of things are what started to really intrigue me about, like, my history about being Jewish and stuff that I hadn't necessarily heard about before.
So when you quit school before you went to Israel?
No, I went to Israel when I was 16, my junior year, on a program. So that was like a 4-month program, came back. And then I worked that summer at a camp in New Jersey, washing dishes. Mm-hmm. I went to see fish. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to, if I can't get along with my parents and shit, I'm going on fish tour this fall. So I went to my first day of high school, got in a big fight with them. And then my friend had a bus, a Volkswagen. So I was like, you want to go to Burlington? And the two of us just took off. We went to Burlington. And then I lived there in Burlington for a while and did like rainbow gatherings and shit till fish tour started. And then,
you were part of the rainbow gatherings?
Yeah. Well,
what's the one?
I did one. It was Shawnee in Southern Illinois, I think it was.
What'd you learn about the people that go to those rainbow gatherings?
Well, it was wild for me because like where I grew up in White Plains, there was, a few hippies. Yeah. Like not many, but they were all a bit older than me.
Yeah.
And when the first part of that trip, I had been kind of alone, and it was a really tough time for me because I'd had some like bad trips where I had no place to go because I was homeless. You know what I mean? And you're just like, where the fuck, And then, so I had a period where like I actually like stopped talking completely. I was like mute for weeks. Like
even at the concerts?
This is before the concerts. This was like while I was in Vermont and stuff, and I was just like, I guess getting used to like that life, like it was so raw and just like kind of like living on the street and all of that, and it kind of shut me down. I just kind of like shut down. It's happened to me a couple of times in my life. It happened to me also at one point when I was religious.
What happened?
It's like a disconnect kind of, and then, but what when I got to that rainbow gathering, all these hippies from White Plains were there. And they had no idea that I had dropped out of school and like gone on fish tour. They kind of remembered me as like this preppier kind of like wannabe hippie custy kid. And then I'm there like, dreadlocks like and they took me in, and it was like I got to feel what it was like to kind of have family for a minute, know? So that was my takeaway from the rainbow gathering. That was a really special thing for me. But
so now you have a herd of people following fucking fish around. You're out there. What, 16, 17, making it work. What'd you see in fish that made you want to travel?
Well, I saw like that. I knew that there was a culture, even from the dead and stuff, of kids that just did this. That just like, and I was just like, I guess I just wanted to, for me, it was the music. Like that experience that I had at that fish show in Worcester was the driving force. So it was like, a lot of things around it, like not getting along with my parents, this, that, and the other thing. But that night, that music like spoke to my soul, and it was like, this is why you're here. This is what you're doing. This is your shit.
This is home.
This is your shit. Yeah. And so I was just like, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if I'm going to play guitar, or I'm going to be in a band, or what it's going to look like. But I have to fucking follow this. Right. And for now, that means going to fish concerts. You know what I mean? When I was 16 or whatever. Yeah.
So how long did that last for?
That lasted for like maybe about 6 months or so, and then I went home, trying to go back to high school, and that didn't really work.
How was that transition back into your parents' house?
Horrendous.
What happened?
I went to rehab, like upstate New York.
They made you go?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
And then,
did you want to go?
No. And then that was pretty intense experience of like being in a rehab with like mandated New York City kids. Under 18.
Yeah.
Doing coming from like being a hippie, like at fish. Yeah, exactly. Like coming from like being at fish shows and just taking acid, like way too much of it. So my whole brain was, a little bit.
So you were taking acid like every day.
Yeah.
And
at 16, that's
hard because you're still developing your brain.
And your sense of yourself and and sense of the world. All
So
the time.
the end of that 6-month tour with Fish, did
So-
you feel like you lost yourself?
So I came home pretty sick. I was really sick.
Like what? What was going? Like mentally or
Physically,
body?
yeah, mentally, like everything. I was kind of like a shell. And then, yeah, so it took some time. So what I ended up doing was going on a wilderness, like what's called like a wilderness therapy program
So in Oregon.
in Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that was an incredible experience for me.
Did your parents have money?
No, well, they're like upper
class?
middle income. But for that, I remember like specifically, like they didn't have the money and they borrowed it from friends or friends.
Who told
friends
you
paid
about the
for it.
wilderness thing?
That's a good question. I don't know exactly how we found out about it, but my mom knew that I like love the woods and the wilderness and stuff.
Yeah.
So she was like, "You want to go on this wilderness? Like high school's not working for you, and this, that, and the other thing. Want to go on this wilderness thing?" I think she might have told me that I couldn't smoke weed, that I had to be sober out there. But I was like, yeah. But it was the type of shit where they like take your shoelaces and then like, you can't
It's like
talk.
boarding
It's
school?
it's pretty intense. But it was incredible for me. And you know, during that time, it was like maybe 5 weeks. So I was out there for 2 trips basically. And you do these 3-day like solos where you're alone in the woods for 3 days.
Right.
You can't see anybody, hear anybody.
Like isolation completely?
Isolated.
With your mind?
Yeah, just you. And no, I think we were fasting. No, we weren't fasting on that one. But then there were other ones where I did.
Is it a
where I was
Jewish
fasting.
place?
No.
No.
And so just being alone and going through that 3 days alone, like in the middle of the woods, like in complete wilderness, like off the.
Tell me,
totally
okay,
off
so
the
give me
road.
those 3 days. What were you thinking about? Like when you had to do those 3 wilderness days, like how did you?
I have journals actually. I wrote from this time, so that was a lot of writing. I did a lot of writing. It was where I like wrote the first song that I ever like composed.
What was it about?
Wrote. It was called Jumping Mouse, and it was a story that I had heard about, that this mouse that becomes an eagle, that they told us on this thing. So, I turned it into a rhyme or whatever, into a rap. And I had a melody that kept reoccurring in my head, so I would sing that melody and like wrote that. And I ended up recording it when I moved to Oregon. It's on a CD somewhere.
So you, even through the hardship of this boarding school, you still fell in love with Oregon?
I ended up there. That's where I went after this trip. Yeah.
Okay.
I ended up in Oregon. Yeah.
So you kept writing, but what were you writing about? Like, what was like, how were you like trying to like rewire your brain to feel better again through this 3-day trip?
So while I'm out in the woods there in Oregon, I remember, my memory really is like the first day, the first night, it being really, really difficult. Like a storm. Being in the middle of like a storm. And you kind of like, there's no distraction, there's nowhere to go, there's no way to get away from it. And so you just have to go like into the storm basically. And you just go, it's like a trip.
Yeah.
And you just go head on, face.
And you're sober.
Sober, yeah. And then and then at some point, it's like, I think there's a term in the Kabbalah called the sweetening of the Gevura. And that's kind of like the sweetening of the strictness. And that's kind of what happens. You just feel like this vice just kind of like let go. And everything just kind of became like really peaceful and like unified.
You think that's ego?
I don't know if it's
Like the restriction?
I guess it's something to do with that. Yeah.
Like you're finally letting information into your heart or into your body?
Yeah, I haven't thought about exactly what the thing is there. I think it's just like, it's natural. It's just like the natural flow of things. It's like when you like don't distract and you go head forth into something, there's got to be like some kind of tension. There has to be some kind of breakthrough. I guess that.
And you
could be
broke
What
through.
do you think?
I don't know. I think I go through those things where it's like, I'm like you, where I disconnect. I need to disconnect for 3 days. Or like I've had that a couple times in my life where like I fall further away just to try to like, I don't know if I'm like assessing what I'm doing, but like there's always been a breakthrough. I when I was like severely depressed on the road, I was microdosing mushrooms for about a year every day just to kind of rewire my brain to find who I am. It's like, seems like you lost yourself.
And did that work?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the microdosing helped you with the depression.
But it feels
that's
like
amazing.
it's the same thing as being by yourself in the woods with your brain
Yeah.
and saying, you know what? There's nowhere else to hide. Let's fucking figure this out.
Yeah, exactly.
So you go into this trip, and you passed it. Did you meet friends, or did you start like really diving into music then, or were you?
I instead of going home after that trip back to New York, I went to this year-long program in Bend, Oregon.
Bend's a cool city.
Yeah. And that program was just like just kind of like to try to help support, and get you ready for the world, young people that are struggling or whatever. And that's where I started.
Like a halfway house?
Something like that, yeah. And then
this is all over just acid, or were you doing like blow?
no, I was never doing hard drugs.
No.
Yeah, no.
You
Not
just
at that
went
age,
crazy overdoing, taking too much L.
Yeah, I mean, well, my parents were kind of a little bit intense with it. I think,
Yeah.
But,
We're running.
but I also was definitely doing probably more and doing things before most of my friends. You know what I mean?
Was your anger towards your parents still going on through this trip to Oregon?
I think. Well, no. At some point, I let go. I let go of that when I was in the woods for sure. During that time.
So did you go? So you went. So you went to Bend. What was going on there?
So yeah. So I was in this program for a year, and while I was there, I started performing at an open mic night. Yeah, and that's where I met
in Bend.
I met a guy who lived there. This dude, Aaron Chambers, who's just like sold weed and was just very charismatic, playing guitar in the park. And I started like freestyling with him. And then we started our group together and we put a band together. And at the same time, I was doing some theater. I was in the play Equus. I played the role of the main boy in Equus.
You like acting?
Familiar with that play at all?
No.
It's kind of...
Tell me, what's it about?
It's a special play about a boy who loses it and blinds 7 horses naked. And the scene is naked. It's done naked. What's his name was in it from Lord of the Rings. He played the role on Broadway.
And you were the lead?
I played the lead, and the way I got
out the whole thing.
Dick out, yeah. And the way I got that role was that I was going through this incredible.
Yeah.
I was doing therapy. I had gone through everything that I had gone through, and I was sober now, and I was putting it all together, and I took an acting class at the community college there, and we had an assignment to write a monologue, and I wrote a monologue where I described tripping at a Fish concert and then being like tossed into rehab and like all these experiences that I had gone through. And I said it in front of the class. and afterwards, like the whole class was like jaw dropped. And the director of the class, who was also the director of this theater, and he was going out with a bang. He was the last couple of years, and he was always wanted to do Equus. And he was like, I found my kid to play this.
Oh my God. So did he convince you?
No, he was like, I was all about it. I was just like, fuck it. Like I was crazy.
When did you get into? When did you start getting into theater and stuff?
I did acting as a kid a little bit, just like in school and stuff. And I did an acting program at SUNY Purchase College, and there was an acting teacher when I was a kid who really was awesome dude. And
what did he teach you? What did he teach you that made you that you learned the most about acting?
When I was a kid, then?
Yeah.
Well, he was just a trip because he was they were like, him and his wife were kind of teaching the class, and they were just really cool people. And they were kind of hippies, and pretty sure they were doing blow and smoking weed like during the class. So basically, like, when we would come in, it was like, okay, they were like on fire, and we'd break up into groups, and he would work with me one-on-one, and he was just like buzzing around the room, and I was just like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then they would do like cool downs where I think they would take turns going and smoking weed, and they would have us all in a circle and play the piano, and we would just be doing cool shit. So
that's fucking awesome.
Kind of what I was like, yeah, I liked it. But
did you like the people that acting attracted, like the artist that is acting, or like did you like?
I don't know. I had some friends that were in that theater world and stuff, but I like the idea of getting lost in a role, getting lost in
a character,
and becoming that thing, whatever it is, I guess.
So you do this play, your dick out, in Bend, Oregon. Bend is kind of, it's pretty progressive, but it's still conservative.
It was early Bend though. It was 98, 99, so it was before like the massive wave that's happened. But it was on the up. So I'm doing that. I'm sober. I'm coming out of this program, and I started doing well and putting this band together. And then things kind of started to like gradually fall apart for me. And the band kind of fell apart, and I was like, I had an opportunity. My parents were like, want to come go to college, come back to New York, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Came back to school. That's when I went to the new school. And that's like, I guess the next chapter, that's right before I kind of became religious and moved to Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Yeah.
So when you said everything was falling apart, how were you feeling in Oregon at those last couple months?
Well, I kind of like, I guess you could say I started to lose it all. Yeah. I started to like, I was building something, you know what I mean? I was like sober and I was working on all this stuff. And then at some point I just like started to let go and let things slip. And within like a pretty short amount of time, like everything was pretty much crumbling.
Do you remember the moment that it started crumbling?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
I don't know if I want to fully expose like all of it though.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like I don't know. I haven't really spoken about it very much to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's fine. So it's like, yeah, and it's tough and it's trauma, right?
Yeah, it was a traumatic experience that, you know, I had my part in you know, certainly in bringing it like it was like a karmic situation.
Did you relapse after that?
Yeah.
And you started doing acid again, or were you started getting into hard drugs?
No, I still wasn't really doing hard drugs then. Yeah, it was more like just smoking weed and, you know, occasionally tripping or taking ecstasy or whatever, you know. But yeah, some of those like trips that I had were pretty rough.
Yeah,
at that time.
Like I bet, man, it's like going back into darkness. Like you haven't really healed yet.
Yeah,
and then relapse is crazy.
Yeah,
like what is it that makes us relapse? You know, like, and it could be the littlest thing that triggers our depression again.
Yeah,
you know. So you go back to New York. You go to new school.
I go back to New York. I get a job at Borders in the coffee shop and then the music shop with these really cool people that work at Borders in the music shop.
What was your vibe with your parents at this time?
They were pretty proud of me for everything that I had kind of been through, and I think they were pretty supportive at the time. They were happy I was going to school. I was, you know, I think I was sober at the time, and then I was, you know, I remember like I had a dog that I would take out. I had my routine, you know, my little simple routine, and then, you know, I was saving money to be able to buy a PA system. That was my thing. I wanted to have a microphone and 2 big speakers. I wanted a Mackie mixer and a Crown Power amp. And these 2 JBL speakers from Sam Ash or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I wanted to be able to play tapes, instrumental tapes, really loud, and just rap on a microphone.
Anywhere?
Back at them. And no, in the crib, at my parents' house or whatever, in the attic. So that's what I did.
So what did they, here, I got a lighter. So what are they like when you're blasting this heavy hip hop in the house?
That's funny. I don't really remember too much. I think it was mostly when they were out at work and stuff like that. And then I went to school. So I started living in the city, and I had it set up, you know, in the dorm room or in the apartment where I was living. And
did you like New York back then?
Yeah, I loved it. It was intense, and it was just a lot going on. And I was really getting into music, and I was really getting into writing and rapping and all that.
You felt like you're getting good.
I felt, yeah, and it was not because I was performing like how I was performing in Bend. It was all happening in my room, just me going to Canal Street, finding the tapes that I really wanted, and then doing this hybrid combination of hip hop beats and like dance hall singing over them. And I started really writing lyrics that I could tell. And there were a few times where I just went to open mics in the city. And when I fucking started doing my thing, people would just fucking lose it. And I was like, oh shit, this is different than when I used to sing like 2 years ago or a year ago in Bend. And it was like cool. And I was drawing people, but skills wise, like this was a whole different
what do you think changed? You stopped relying on other people and started relying on yourself?
No, I just put the hours in. I just put the time and
do the work
in. Yeah. And but it didn't feel like work to me. It was like smoking blunts and listening to hip hop, basically, and just fucking just like spitting and just writing and spitting and just spending hours and hours a day, not going to class and just fucking doing that.
So you didn't go to new school?
I went to some.
Did you
classes.
pass?
Yeah, I passed. Yeah.
Let's go. I'll clap to that. Let's go. So when did you? Okay, so you're getting into hip hop. You moved to Brooklyn. You start getting religious.
So then, what happens now? Let me just take a sec.
No, take a second. I feel like I'm just like analyzing everything right now. It's like, stop me if I'm like getting too therapy
No,
on
it's
it.
cool.
I'm just so curious and fascinated with you, Modest. Like it feels like you've done. It's like you have demons inside of you,
Yep.
and like sometimes it's like a herpes. They flare up
Yeah.
sometimes, and you
Yeah.
gotta fucking maintain it.
Yeah.
So like, and do these demons stay in your head all the time? Do they come back? Are they still around? Have you tamed them?
Yeah, I mean, I have. I mean, there's a whole shitload that happens between where
Bring
we
it
are
on.
right now.
Let's go.
And between my demons getting tamed, I think.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Years and years. I don't know. I don't really know if we have time or want.
Bro,
if
we
I
got
wanna get all
time.
into
We're
all
going,
this.
bro. This is it.
But
So you get
basically, so I start. I'm in New York. Okay, I start when I'm there. It's exciting and it's awesome, but what I remember at the time is this incredible, like existential loneliness that I start to really feel
again.
No, like for the first time, really.
Oh.
Like I had felt it always to some extent, but now I'm feeling it like in a whole different way. Like I guess it was some deep level of depression, which
Yeah.
I had no idea, but some like almost like a darkness, like a cold, like a storm.
How
like
old
a
were you?
cloud. 19, 20, 21.
Came out of nowhere?
Or I don't
slowly
remember where. I
creeping
don't
in?
remember how it happened exactly, but I felt alone, very alone, and music was definitely like the place where I felt like poured myself into.
Yeah.
And I knew I had this dream to be Matisyahu, even though I didn't know the name, what Matisyahu was. But going back to that fish experience and all, like
You
the
wanted to
vision,
be
I
that
had the
fucking-
vision, bro. I just was like, I want to be doing music, and I know this is my shit. How am I gonna do it? There's a million rappers in New York City, and there's a million people.
You start getting intimidated?
So it just seemed like like I didn't know how it could happen. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking pray for this. So the prayer thing was kind of like in me, and so I saw that when I was like 16 when I went to Israel.
Wow.
I witnessed that, and I kind of tapped into that a little bit, and not the religious aspect of it, and then being at the fish shows and Rainbow and all that, and that acid. So that whole concept of prayer, of like getting to this place where you feel also the loneliness, kind of like maybe the only savior in all of this is God. You know, maybe
Right.
that's a way out of this loneliness, you know.
Right.
But that became kind of like the last option for me. I still was like fucking around with,
Were you, like,
with little
suicidal?
drugs and stuff. No, nothing like that. But I was still like fucking around and fucking up a little bit, and kind of like not feeling good about myself,
Yeah.
you know, feeling down on myself. And so I kind of, at that point, I kind of went to God, and I was like, I need to become a different person. I need to become something, a whole new thing. I don't know if that's the right way to go at it, but that's kind of with the extremity and the intensity that I came
Kind
at
of like
it.
shedding layers like an onion or skin.
Maybe, but I was just like, I need to, I kind of like jumped into a whole nother bag. So I was just like, okay, I know I'm Jewish, and I know like I could go Buddhist, I could go Christian. I knew I had to go to some kind of religion.
Oh wow, it was
Like
that
I knew it was
dark.
going to go there. Yeah, I was like, therapy's not going to save me. And because I had done therapy at that point, and good therapy, but I don't know. That's kind of where I was at. I was like, I need a spiritual revolution
Yeah,
in my life from the inside, like a total breakthrough.
yeah.
That's what I wanted. That was like my intent when
Yeah.
I came at this. And yeah, and I had done the AA and NA and all of that, and I really didn't want to go back into
Yeah.
those rooms at all. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
I was like, becoming religious could be a real option. And I started to notice Hasidic people around me, like the guy who's shaking the lulav and the esrog, asking people, "Are you Jewish?" I started to become kind of intrigued.
What
And-
intrigued you at first?
I don't know. What was the very first thing that intrigued me? Was the prayer. So I started, because I wasn't looking for community. I was a lonely cat, and I thought maybe I'd find love or something like
Right.
that. But other than that, I was like, I think I'm just a lonely dude. I wasn't looking to like sit down at Shabbos tables
Right.
and hang out with families and all of that. And I hadn't really studied that much yet, so I didn't really know that much about like the Kabbalah and the Hasidus and all the crazy like philosophy in there that would later blow my mind. It was all about prayer. It was like I was looking for a place to pray. That's what it was.
Or looking for a place to like put your dreams into the atmosphere?
I was literally looking for a place to pray. Like I was praying on my own. I had started praying, and I had found a prayer shawl that from my grandfather through my dad. And I started praying. Like at some point I, quit smoking weed or something. And I would go up on the roof of the new school and I would put the fucking prayer shawl on and I would pray on the fucking roof. And at like sunset time, which
what were
was
you praying about?
Which was when that loneliness thing would like really strike hard every day. It was right at sunset, right at the changeover. Yeah.
Where do you think that is from?
I think that's an intense time of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like change.
Yeah. And it can be beautiful. It can be intense. It can be, yeah.
Well, maybe it's like kind of like this. If you take a step back, it's like you were praying for change and you see life changing from day to night. So it's kind of you like physically see the change that you're trying to have.
Yeah.
So you'd get depressed right at sunset.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was when it would really hit hard because, that's when it's starting to get dark. That's when you have to go home and there's no one there. You know what I mean? That's when, I don't know, that was just a hard time. I remember specifically. So that's when I started praying. So when that started happening, at some point I wanted to move beyond that and I wanted to find like a synagogue to pray. So I started exploring different synagogues throughout New York City. And I would go to different places, like on this little like explorations. And I was kind of like just doing it myself. I was like, how do they pray? How do they pray? Does this feel authentic? Does this feel cool? And the place that I found eventually was the Carlbach Shul on the Upper West Side, Shlomo Carlbach. You may have heard of him.
Yeah.
And so his melodies and the vibe in that shul was just beautiful. So I would just
What'd you take from his
run to that
sermons?
shul. I would just run there to pray. I had so much. I just felt the spirit of it. Yeah, it was like. And that's how that was my entry into the religion. That was the way I kind of came into it.
Did you have a kid young?
Yeah, pretty young, 25 or so.
And you're married?
I was married once, and now I'm remarried.
Yeah. And this is your son?
This is my son, yeah, Levi.
We should bring him in here.
Bring him in. He's falling asleep over here.
Come on, get up here,
He's heard all these stories. He's like,
He's
not
like,
that
God,
one.
another fucking story by Pops. Yeah, get in. I want to hear what it was like, What's up, bud?
Yeah, let him ask.
What's up, yeah?
How you doing?
Good, yeah.
What's the word on the street? What's your relationship like with your pops?
Incredible, especially since I started making music and like taking it seriously. He's been such like a role model and like helping me like and guide me through like the journey.
Was it hard having your dad on tour all the time?
Yeah, like when I was younger, it was like hard, but then eventually you get used to it and like start like manning up a little, like bar mitzvah.
What did he teach you about music that made you fall in love with it?
Just like the love for music and like the joy of what it brings people. Like I remember like, especially with like school and stuff, like I was never able to like focus or like sit at a desk or even if it was
your
like
pops.
Yeah, anything. Even if it was like something that
New Jersey state champion ice hockey player.
Yeah, you are?
Yes,
Let's
sir, yes.
fucking go! Let's go! That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So your dad's a big role model to you.
Yeah, 100%.
So you guys writing music together? What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got?
The way his whole thing started, it was before COVID. He always had an incredible voice. Like he grew up in Chabad, where it's kind of like push your way to the front and whoever's the loudest. And he was always the loudest. Like his voice always had a power to it. And he always sang, but then at some point he started like writing in a notebook, and he wanted to start recording on his computer, and he started recording just on GarageBand. And for, I don't know, would you say it was like a year, 2 years, he was just doing that, like spending that time, putting those hours in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he played me some shit with a really strong hook. I'm like, who wrote that? And I'm like, do another one. And it was just like, boom, boom, boom. This guy writes hits. He's talented as fuck, bro. He's
Okay, so
crazy,
give me the
crazy
inspiration. Give me who's inspiring you to write these hits?
Inspiration for writing music, writing songs.
I guess just like being in high school and like being on the journey.
Yeah.
I've seen like the road, like
It's wild.
everything.
Also, our been through a lot of stuff too with
Yeah.
our divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that.
Was that hard when your mom and dad divorced?
At first, I would say, but then like, I mean, at first, like everyone, like they spoil you on both sides, you know, so it's not too bad. And then like the middle
Tricky situation in LA. I had this 71 Chevy. I still have it. I'm trying to sell it. But it's like dropped down, and that was the car that we had. And then we were like living while they were doing construction on this house that I bought. We were like living in this basement in the hills, like and
In LA?
one
in
bedroom.
LA, weed had just become legal. It was just like I had my boys to myself. It was like pizza every night, watching TV, and no bedtime. All of us would just pass out on the bed together. He's had a lot of different versions. And then there was the Nyack house when we had the one point I was divorced before I got remarried, and I had signed a band of 3 20-year-old kids, and they were living in my house. I bought this mansion in Nyack on the river and put like a hot tub in the back for like 50 people. And like basically it was my 3 boys, him, Shalom, and Menachem, his younger 2 brothers, and these 3 20-year-olds and me in this house. And it was just instruments set up everywhere and just speakers everywhere.
It's like family band.
It was insane. It was total insanity. And then thank God my wife came into the picture and threw everybody out.
Everyone's got to go.
You want to get interviewed, Talia?
So how old were you when you like popped?
I was 24 maybe.
Oh, so you got that. You got a hit, and then you had a kid?
Right away. I got the only way that the rabbis let me do music was if I got married right away.
Yeah.
So I had 3 dates, married, and kid right away.
It's awesome.
2 right away. They're like Irish twins.
Really?
Yeah.
So you saw the growth of your dad's career at such a young age, and then you've seen the ups and downs. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
it's pretty wild. Like you get a firsthand experience about the music industry, and
Backstage passes every time.
do you love it?
Well,
I do.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is now this transition of him having been a boy on tour and then a boy growing up kind of like in the midst of everything.
Yeah.
To making a decision and being like, I'm dropping out of high school and I'm pursuing my dream to do music. I'm coming on tour with Pops.
Go.
And he performs every night. Like he's spent years writing and recording songs in his bedroom. He's never performed, you know what I mean, until he came out on tour with me. And now he's performing every single night. He's on the road,
Why did it take so long for him to start doing this? Like, were you perfectionist about you wanted him to be ready for this?
For sure.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to have like real strong opinion right
Yeah.
away about him, if he's the real deal or not.
So what was the first song that was like, this is the real deal?
Which was the first one you did?
The one with Salt Cathedral.
Yeah. How'd the hook go?
It was like a love song that I wrote.
About what?
The love song.
Just this like girl.
Yeah.
From back home. Yeah.
It's
It
awesome.
was something about you just want to be friends.
Yeah, the hook was
What was the hook?
I don't want to be your best friend.
I don't want to be your best friend. I want to be your boyfriend.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. I love it. Is it hard to find a relationship while you're living on the road?
Can he sing you just
Yeah,
a lick?
please.
Will you just sing him a lick of Fake Friends? Just the angels,
Please.
Or like just a little 2 lines, 3 lines. Sit up straight. Hold on. Get your breathing going.
I love this. This is fucking awesome.
Like what? Like,
Just hit the song.
and all these angels keep fighting. They talk in my head. They told me it's better if I go my separate ways. Oh, yeah. Oh. I thought that they loved me. They just playing a game. Chasing my father and chasing the fame. Whoa. Oh. Yeah. Fake friends in this swear that you gon' wait. Fake friends in the fake friends in the fake friends in this swear that you gon' wait. Fake friends in the fake friends in the little taste.
Let's
from the
fucking
new song.
go. Let's go. Yo. This is amazing. Are you proud?
I'm so proud, bro. I can't tell you. And like, I can just say as a father, advice to other fathers is don't stand in the way of your kid doing what's naturally,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I didn't push him at all on this. This all was just like lay back, play the right music, in the car.
Yeah.
the right artist that I could start hearing him singing along. All of a sudden, I know he's like singing along to patois that I don't even understand, and I'm like, oh, he's got
Octavian.
it. Like, okay, when he came to me and he was like, yeah, I'm ready. I want to start recording. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, you got to do it. And we live in a time now where you can do it yourself. So it's
Yeah. And do you feel like because you live in a time where we could do this ourselves, it just makes it even more special that you could do this with your son?
Oh yeah, I mean, like he has sessions all the time at the crib. I'll have like cats up from Brooklyn sleep over, and then I'll come downstairs and just check out what's going on, and then they'll throw me on a verse, and I'll get inspired and rocking out with him, and it's like
This is fucking epic.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
This is a great chapter in your life. Do you feel inspired now to keep writing music now that you have another generation of someone who's fucking rocking out too?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a record over COVID that I did that is like fully about my family. And it really, and just naturally happened that way. I self-titled it Matisyahu because it's like after all that time, you know what I mean, on the loneliness and all of that, and all the ups and downs that we've kind of started to touch upon, and it goes even deeper and it gets even darker. There was a time, that it's come to where it's just like
Full circle.
Yeah, like this was the dream.
Do you feel like you finally found happiness?
Yeah, for sure. And I answer that. I can answer that quickly and like very truly now. And when people used to ask me that all the time, it hurt so bad to say it, to say yes, or to say no. It also hurt.
Yeah.
Now, like you ask me that question, like boom, yeah.
What did you learn about? Because it was probably the first time in your life where you weren't touring heavy, so you're living with your family for like 2 years in a house. Like, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about the family?
I guess I don't know. That's a great question. I have to think.
All right. What did you learn about your pop, seeing him every day?
To think about that one a little bit.
I like it. I like how people, this is how it is. Like a lot of people just go straight without thinking about what they want to say.
Yeah.
And it's important to have time to reflect on what you want to be, who you want to be in life, and who you want to surround yourself in life. And Modest, for you to have your family here with you and be in Denver, I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man.
It's really special to see the whole family.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate you, bro. Let's go. Let's clap it up for the son. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
LAIVY. Check them out on Spotify or whatever.
I love it. Modest, I know you got to go do big things. I just want to say thanks for your time.
Yeah,
I really
man.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We
have to do it. We'll have to do
round
multiple chapters.
No, we're gonna.
This.
This is gonna be. We're friends.
Yeah.
This
All
is
right.
this is just the beginning.
Dope.
I got one last question for you, and then I'll let you go. When it's all said and done, and you're in the history books, what do you want to be remembered by?
Well, I guess for me, like the main thing in my life that's been there from like the very beginning till the end has been this connection to the lyric and the music, and to this day, like I'm sure you have this as well, like meeting fans that are going through depressions, that are going through all kinds of things, and your music is the thing that gets them out of bed, and it's only because you went through it and you were honest with your experience and put it into your music. And then that rewarding feeling, that feeling of knowing that all that darkness that you went through was for a reason and it impacted people.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my main, that's my bread and butter. Yeah.
Keep fighting.
Yeah.
Keep believing in yourself and keep believing in people, because all we have in this life is kindness and the people that we surround ourselves with. So thanks for being an inspiration.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, cheers. Matisyahu, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, man.